What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Card CEO. We are the Collectibles Podcast of JustBaseball.com.
Did he get another one? Oh! Gallo's on his way back. He got it! Santa Maria! Lindor again!
There it is! He did it! A 40-70 season and a season unlike any other in Major League Baseball history for Ronald Acuna Jr.
There's a drive to right, off the bat of Evan Carter, and what a postseason he is having.
He hits this one hard. He hits it a mile to left. Mike Trout has ripped a home run.
What's up, guys? This is Mike Trout, and you're listening to Sports Card CEO with Kern, Bubba, and Hand.
It is good to be back on with the boys. We have Bubba in camo attire, fresh off an elk hunt that he can fill us in on. We got Kern with his cards back behind him. All is right with the world. We have sirens and horns straight off of 34th Avenue in New York. And we got a little bit of facial hair on the ham bone on Big Matt.
I see that.
The fall season. So, gentlemen, it's good to be with you.
What's going on, guys?
Man, everything changed so much since I've been gone. I just come back and it's like the whole world's changed. You know, one thing that hasn't changed, though, boys, to get this episode started, that the Mets missed the playoffs again.
All right. I'm pissed, but I'm not surprised. But I'm pissed. It was like a train wreck I saw coming from a mile away. I mean, it's just so freaking pathetic that they were even in a position to have to win and hope for somebody to lose. Like it was pathetic that they were at game 162 and Sean Manaea is on the mound. Like, that was your best option. It's unacceptable. It's pathetic. And Carlos Mendoza completely mismanaged and overmanaged that game, in my opinion. I mean, in what world he got that one runner on base, Sean Manaea, and he takes him out, and then the whole bullpen exploded once he took out Brooks Raley for Ryan Stanek. It was set up for failure. But the season in its entirety is just, it's a complete failure, and it's absolutely pathetic, and I'm embarrassed to be a Mets fan.
Well, Kern, I wish we were in person to give you a hug.
You know, it's all good. I'm just going to, jump off the base floor over here.
Well, at least you're not a Braves fan, man. We feel your pain here in Atlanta.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a break.
I don't have a dog in this fight, so I just am sitting here just watching. And now, I will say this, as an NC State football fan, I know exactly how you feel from going 3-0 to losing 2 games in a row. The last one to a 1-3 Virginia Tech team that had just lost to freaking School of the Blind.
You know what the difference is? Your pain was for 2 weeks. My pain was for 6 months.
Very true. That is the difference. The Braves, I at least got to tune out about 90 days ago and just say, you know what? Wait till next year. You gotta live that, man, until the last day. So I do feel sorry for Kern, because that was you saw it coming, though. You knew it a month ago. You said it a month ago.
Yeah, I said it a month ago, and it just nothing ever changed. I hated this team from the get-go. Hated them with a passion. They showed no heart the entire season. When you are the only team in Major League Baseball that goes 0-67 without winning one game when trailing after the 8th inning, you are destined for failure. That means you have no heart as a team.
So,
none.
Current question, how many games do you go to in a regular season?
This year, I went to absolutely 0.
You went to no games. But do you
None.
watch every game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch every game.
Interesting. And again, a Major League Baseball fan is a very unique fan. Because 162 games is a lot of games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't miss a game unless I absolutely have to. But of all my teams, I mean, the Mets are my number one. Like, if you ask me the question of who do I want to win a championship, Mets, Jets, Knicks, it's Mets.
Is that kind of like a universal New York thing, or is everybody different?
No, I think everybody's different. I mean, I have friends that would choose the Jets and friends that would choose the Knicks, but Mets,
baseball guy,
they just break my heart.
Yeah, well, that said, we can dive into a little Major League Baseball playoff, later in the discussion. But Bubba went ahead and threw the grenade in the middle of the episode to give
God Damn it.
I just figured it was a really good way to get it started.
So now that
Yeah.
we're saucy and we're ready and live, let's do a little weekly recap, Bubba, fresh out of your trip out west. Catch us up on where you've been, bro.
I've been in New Mexico. I went to a place called Chama, New Mexico, Chama, New Mexico. I've always thought of New Mexico as like Breaking Bad and like RVs in the middle of a desert, guys cooking meth. It's always kind of what I've envisioned it as. I don't know if it's because of that show or what, but Chama, New Mexico was an absolutely gorgeous place. General elevations around 8,500 feet. We got up to 12,000 climbing up the mountain, hunting for elk. Was a phenomenal experience. If you've never been out west and been able to hear an elk bugle, it's absolutely amazing experience to see them in the wild, and just an amazing trip. Caught rainbow trout, got to hunt elk, had an amazing time. Missed my family at the end of it. 5 or 6 days in, we got back, we flew home, and got back into baseball this weekend. Right when I got home, we had a tournament this weekend, but life is good. Card life has been slow because I've been focused on everything else but cards, but phenomenal trip. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go, and I'm wicked loose over here.
So is this like a group of buddies that you went with, or like college fraternity brothers, or like
Well,
elk?
I wasn't in a fraternity. If I was, they would have been my fraternity brothers, those kind of guys. But no, good friend of mine went on the trip, good buddy of mine, and was a couple other buddies of mine that went, and then there was a group of his other buddies that went. But I mean, the group couldn't have gotten along better. We're all similar phases of life, dads, all business type men, and all within 10 years or so of age. And I mean, we just had a blast, man. I mean, I will say this though. I mean, when you go and do what I did, like you're waking up. I texted Kern one day and was like, I like voice messaged him and was like, dude, we're waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We literally hunt. We go back. They feed us lunch. You get in the woods again. You hunt, and it's 8, 9 o'clock at night. You get back. They have dinner on the table, and you're going to bed because in that elevation, I mean, I live at 600 feet of elevation. And when you go to 10, 11, 12,000 feet and you're walking up mountains all day, dude, you are exhausted. And so
You're a mountain
I was
man.
exhausted. Yeah, I was a mountain man. And for any of those that care, I did bring home an elk. So it was an amazing, amazing trip.
Wow. Brought home an elk. I mean, it's
Brought home an elk.
regular days
Yep.
for me.
It was normal day at the office.
You flew it back on your shoulders?
Yes,
Are you gonna mount it?
absolutely. I'm not going to physically mount it, but I will put the mount in my home, in my farm.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, what on earth am I in right now?
I can't relate. I wish I could.
Kern's got a couple pigeons on the table behind him, stuffed pigeons.
Yeah, disgusting pigeons. Well, I mean, you really threw me off my game by this Mets thing. I mean, it was on my mind and I was going to get there, but I mean, I'm just so freaking pissed. Like I'm depressed. Like I was depressed yesterday, and it was like I knew exactly what was coming. I knew it. Like I can't wrap my head around it, and it's depressing because now I'm going to watch the playoffs, and it's going to be depressing for me. Like they shouldn't be in there. And I say they should be in there, but they shouldn't be. They don't deserve to be. So anyway, aside from the crappy Mets, Bowman Chrome, it's been about a week since release. I ripped a ton. I ripped hobby and delight cases. I don't like the product, got to be honest with you. Not a big fan, especially from a ripping standpoint. Just the hobbies, typically when I rip a hobby case for any other product, Bowman Draft, or whatever, like there's a hit in there. Like you're looking for maybe your true gold, your true orange. There's no guaranteed hits in these hobby cases. Like I ripped some terrible, terrible cases where like a green out of 99 on multiple occasions was the case hit, and it could have been like a sticker insert auto, like really, really bad cases. And it's just from a player standpoint, like, I don't know why this year, like we talked about last week with Aram, there's no like real standout guys like there was Leo last year. And so it just doesn't have me as excited. Like I don't feel as confident or convicted in any of these guys than I normally would. Even Ilian Pena, who's a Mets guy, like I'm just not convinced, like I got to see more. And maybe it's me becoming a little more risk averse. Like, I don't know, like what'd you say? Savvy? Yeah. I mean, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing that's really getting me too excited about it. Maybe I was just turned off by all the ripping, but just nothing's really getting me excited. So I'm not a huge fan of the product. Maybe some of these guys turn out okay. There's always time to get into these guys at a later time. And that's about it. I'm going to be knee deep in my business from a work standpoint, more so than usual. One of my employees closest to me was in a motorcycle crash on Saturday, so I'm praying for him.
Is he okay?
No, he's on a ventilator, not breathing on his own. So
Oh, bless.
prayers to him. So I'm going to be, my focus is, I'll still be doing cars and stuff, but I'm not going to, my focus is primarily going to be here on this podcast as opposed to the daily cards, because I'm just going to, I have to kind of redefine some things here and reallocate some, you know, basically the people's positions are going to be moving around a little bit here. So got to do some things. So prayers up to him. What's up with you, Matt?
Dude, I'm sorry to hear that, first of all, man. That's difficult
Yeah.
that you work with, and definitely praying for that situation. Something else just to think about and talk through. It's so interesting how our sports teams like literally dominate our emotion. Like I'll be honest, like I am coming out of a season where it was like super into state football. I'll never forget, NC State was playing on the road at Clemson. It's probably been 10 years ago now. And Clemson was number 2 in the country or something like that. It's when Deshaun Watson was playing there or whatever. State is literally winning the football game. And then Clemson scores late. State has a 25-yard field goal to ice it. And the guy missed the field goal. And I broke a television remote. And I'm there like going, what is wrong with me that I am this emotionally into? And so I went season of like, I am a purist. I will not give into sports. I don't watch teams. I don't care. And then stupid NC State made an NCAA playoff run in basketball 2 years ago. Went 4.
Got you back.
Hook, line, sinker. And now I'm like, why do we give so much emotional energy to these people who have no clue who we are? We can have no control over their performance. And here we are yelling at the players and the coaches, and oh my God. Anyway, sorry, that was a rant.
No, it's a deeper conversation, because it's like that's what a fanatic is. Why do we care so much? And sometimes it feels like we care more than the players themselves, right? And the coaches themselves, which is the frustrating part. Even though that might not be true, it just feels that way.
Yeah, it is. That's a whole other topic in Big Matt's brain that we can dive into. So this last week, man, has been a crazy shakeup week for us. I don't know if you guys saw or pay attention, there was this threat of a hurricane that's off the coast of Florida, kind of making its way up the coast, which affects my industry greatly, the insurance industry. So when we have a hurricane in that jurisdiction, you cannot write any new insurance business. So you're basically shut down from writing new business. But everybody and their brother now wants to talk about insurance, because it's like, oh, did I pay my bill? Do I have a policy? What's my policy? So it's a really interesting time. So last week, a lot of build up with that led us to the end of the week getting completely shut down. And, now kind of having to regather ourselves, because the storm looking like it's going to move offshore, which is good. But it kind of creates a really chaotic environment.
When do they determine, Ham, that like, when does it become where you can't write the insurance? Does that have to be so far from shore or something?
No, there's a latitude and longitude, what's called a box. And so when a storm enters in a certain latitude, longitude box, and it's showing direction toward the, continental USA, then you're going to see carriers put in a moratoriums on.
Wow. Okay.
And when it starts going to the coast, it's like, we should have taken those policies.
Exactly. So you can't do it, before. I mean, you can't do it during. You have to do it before, ahead of time. And so anyway, that's been the week that we've been living. On top of my wife having a medical procedure today, a common medical procedure, but she had to be put under. And of all things, my 6-year-old last night woke up at 1:30 a.m. with a terrible croup cough. So we put her in a steam shower at 1:30 a.m., had to get her some steroids, and so she would calm down because her breathing was off. So I'm in the middle of living a very chaotic moment of life myself in a very different way. That said, It's been a very weird time in the card space for us with Ham House. We've not been super into Bowman Chrome. Little Matt's continued to do his thing, but yeah, it's been an odd month for us because we have the opportunity to buy, but there's really nothing right now that's looking like a buy. So it's kind of like sitting on the sidelines and watching a game play out that you want to be involved in, but at the same time you kind of don't want to be involved in. So anyway, that's kind of the synopsis of the last week for us. But that said, today we want to dive into a really cool listener question, talk a little bit about the MLB playoffs, and then maybe some off-season strategy. But before we do that, guys, I just want to say to our listeners, like, thank you guys so much. Like, Kern, you said that we're continuing to get more and more listeners each week. People are really digging the podcast, and like to have the opportunity to do this and people like want to listen and keep diving in, it keeps me fueled up. So thank you guys for that commitment to our listeners. Thank you guys for listening. We want to continue to bring you guys content, and we've got some really cool stuff around the corner too. We'll get to that later, but we do have this listener question. We'll go ahead and fire this away to kick us off into our episode today.
This is Rajesh Subramani from Santa Barbara. First off, want to say you guys are amazing to listen to each week. Love your insights. RM session last week was amazing. Good on baseball prospects and the prospecting game. So thanks again for everything you guys do. My question has to do with all the noise going on in the hobby about this being a bubble. It's one that's potentially slated to pop at some point soon, but I would love to get your guys' take on it. Not only from the perspective of the hobby at large, but really specifically around the world of Bowman and the world of Bowman prospecting. Personal anecdote, as Ham knows, I've been in the market for Connor Griffin cards, who isn't, and the frothiness around both Connor cards, but also all sorts of top-level rookies, prospects like Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, J.J. Weatherholt, the list goes on, but even Tier 2 and Tier 3s. Basically, has the Bowman prospecting world entered a bubble alongside of the hobby at large? And frankly, do you guys even believe that we're in a bubble with both the hobby and Bowman prospecting? Let me leave it at that. Looking forward to your guys' response. Keep up the incredible work. Thanks for all the things that you guys do for this great hobby that we all get to enjoy. Thanks.
Raja, thank you for that feedback. Raja is a regular listener and very inquisitive and really keeps good fodder going there. So I'll kick it off. Can I kick it off, boys?
Yeah, go ahead.
First down, Ham, and off.
Please.
So, I have a wild experience when I was in my 20s of selling luxury real estate in Florida. Okay. I think I told you guys, our Christmas party one year was hosted by Jay Peterman from Seinfeld, the guy that played
Yeah,
Jay.
of course. I was just going to say.
Jay Peterman, whatever.
Yeah.
He was our.
Kern has his sports card, by the way.
What
He
you
has
doing?
his he has his Leaf cutout card with his Jimmy
No,
Carter.
that's Costanza.
That's fine.
And it's a National Treasures, RPA, all right?
So the Peterman was our MC of our Christmas party, right? The B-52s was entertainment in one room, and in the other room was Darius Rucker of Hootie and the Blowfish doing like a private concert, and then Sterling Marlin and his NASCAR.
Starling Marte?
No, Sterling. It was an open bar, and my point is, it was so crazy that you looked around and everybody goes, "This is never going to end." But then simultaneously you go, how does this continue? Right. And so I have a personal experience of watching the real estate bubble in South Florida implode in my face. So regardless of where we are in a bubble market, I can promise you from what I've been through in my past, I have a lot of trepidation when you see some of the price points. But the ultimate thing is this: the cards that are truly rare assets are strong. It is everything else that is going to, at some point in time, implode. And the case in point is, Kern, when you say I'm opening cases of cards and I'm not excited about anything I hit and all this stuff could go in the trash can, like now your collectability value on everything but those high value things just goes away. And that has to be sustained for it to be healthy. So I would say there's more conversation to be had, but I am radar on, be aware of the environment we're in right now.
Bubba?
Kern, you You want me to go?
Yeah, please.
I feel pretty strong about this. I kind of hit on his question first about the top prospects. I like to gauge in on what we've seen in the past. No different than a stock market, no different than anything else. When you can see where a market's hit highs, where it's hit lows, I look at the top prospects the same way. We've talked about Jackson Holiday before. We've talked about, looking at where his cards were. We've looked at where Jack just was recently. We've seen, but you go back in time even further. You go back to when Julio was a prospect. You go back when Ellie De La Cruz was a prospect. Top prospects in Bowman have been hot even through the downturn. Now, it was harder to flip them and make the money, but they still were hot. And hot was still hot. When Ellie came up a couple years ago and he stole home against the Brewers, you couldn't touch his stuff. I mean, it was ridiculous how hot he was. So, in my opinion, when you're on the right guys, to your point, Ham, I think they're insulated. I do.
Yeah.
I think they're insulated. When they get the call, there's going to be fans. There's going to be people that want their stuff because they're really, really good. The guys that are not really, really good are always a huge risk, right? And we've talked about that in the past. Guys that we've owned that just we missed on, right? And so from that standpoint, he brought up the name Connor Griffin. To me, I think Connor's the safest asset in baseball currently as a prospect's concerned. I think the dude's the real deal. He's got power, he's got speed, he's got it all, right? And you don't see that very often. McGonigal's hit tool is real, right? And so you look at JJ Weatherholt, I still love the guys we've been talking about. I do. I still think those are the buys, and that's why I don't think I'm really buying the new Bowman release right now. I'll probably buy my boy Nate George a little bit just because I like him. I think he's good. I think he's probably too cheap. I think he's probably not too cheap right this second, but he will be soon. But as a whole, it's funny that you brought up about a bubble, Raja, because on this elk trip, you had 10 businessmen, and we got to talk about business a fair good amount in our free time. And the word bubble came up many times in general with our country right now. And the word that I keep coming up with is hot potato. That's the game I keep thinking about. It's a game of hot potato that really we're seeing across the country right now. I think we're on one of those things where it's not a bad time to sit back and watch. But I do think in my gut, and I've said this before on the show, I do think, and this is the first time I'll say this publicly about this fall, I think we will see a 10 to 15% drop in Bowman this fall. I do, this fall and winter. I think we will see a normal regression that you normally see. If that happens to the players I really like, I will buy those players with no shred of fear. I also believe next spring there's going to be, when those same people are sitting back kind of watching this bubble, people like me that are kind of sitting back right now are also going to be fired up about baseball again in February, March, and April. And they're going to want to spend their money, and they're going to want to sell cards, and they're going to want to buy cards again. I can tell you right now, baseball is 162 games, and everybody's wore out in the 162. Right? Even though it's the playoffs, it's still everybody's on their last thread of energy here. So I think you will see post playoffs, you will see the card market in baseball decline. And then I think you will see it absolutely roaring back next spring. And I believe that. I really do. Now, where will it go after next spring and early summer? There's a lot of things that can happen in this world that can affect that. But I'm pretty bullish on next spring in Bowman myself.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that the top prospects right now that Gary just mentioned, Connor Griffin, Kevin McGonigal, JJ Weatherholt, Jesus Mate with his strong finish, Leo DeVree, his strong finish. Like there's just such, it's a really strong prospect up of the, top 10 prospect class right now, like really strong. I think them having success, all those guys having significant success this year carried the Bowman prospect market. Typically when one of these guys that's chased when they're released fails and their prices have a downfall because they're not able to perform, I think the rest of the Bowman market for the most part follows suit. Every single one of those guys finished strong and had solid years, which I think helps carry the Bowman prospect market. And I do think it's going to continue into next spring in full force. I do think that it's going to calm down, as Gary thinks as well. And there's going to be a decrease, but I think if cards become available for those guys in the offseason, I don't see such a big dip in those prices. If a Connor Orange becomes available, I don't see it going for $10,000. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that happening for those top guys. I think all the other stuff you're going to see a decrease in, but come springtime, it's going to be really strong again. That's my take.
Speaking of Connor Arns, what's that over your right shoulder right there? Is that a couple right there? How many we got?
It's a few.
Ooh, look at that stash back there, baby.
But like these guys' success this year, like everybody just hit off the ground running. I mean, you name them: Connor Griffin, Kevin McGonigal, JJ Weatherholt, Jesus Mate, Luis Pena, like Leo,
Eduardo Quintero,
Walcott, like he finished strong, like Eduardo Quintero, like every one of these guys had monster years or monster finishes.
I think about what I'm thinking about right now as we're talking about this is Augusta National and the Masters. You know what I'm saying? Like the Masters is always there regardless of what economic situation we're in. And it's always going to be basically commercial free because you've got Rolex and, you know what I mean, the most high profile advertisers saying, we don't need anybody else. We're good. We've got our situation. We've got our setup here. And my point is this: when you are dealing in very niche, specific, high-end markets, they are always going to be insulated from the greater economic perspective. So like we live in coastal North Carolina, okay? It's probably similar, Kern, to the Hamptons or whatever in the sense of like high value, sought after real estate. Like down here, my house right now is 3 miles from the Atlantic Ocean. And everybody that is retiring out of all these different places, they want to come somewhere where they can have a moderate climate and they can be a few miles within the ocean. So our property values are insulated because we are in a very niche specific marketplace, right? And I think that Bowman, within the overall card hobby, is one of a few very specific niche parts of our industry that the very educated investors and prospectors, like, it's what keeps it strong. So I feel confident in Bowman in general, but especially in what we've said, the right guys and the right cards.
Yeah. There's like those guys that we've been mentioning are like, those are the guys those are the real deal guys, right? And then there's like the I don't want to call it fake, but it's like the fake hype, right? And it's about selling at the right time. Like, for example, you got to talk about a Met, Jonah Tong, okay? Like, if you didn't sell Jonah Tong and you're stuck with, like, you're screwed, you know what I mean? But, like, that's an example of in a smaller scale, a bubble bursting, right? Like, I had a True Red 10 that I sold for $15,000. That same card went into auction on Fanatics that ended last night, and it did $4,400. So it's, the bubble can burst at any point for the guys that you missed a window on. So it doesn't mean Bowman in general, but those top guys, I don't think that bubble's like, it's not going anywhere. But I mean, that's a whole other conversation that we've gotten into before of selling at the right time. But yeah, I think right now with playoff time coming around, like if there's guys, if you're holding on to like some high end Cheerio, like it could be the time to start thinking about moving it.
Well, it's that whole. Go ahead, Bubba.
No, I was going to say on that same note, I mean, we've talked about this now for a while. You got to start looking at next spring and who's going to be that buy even outside of the prospects. You look at a guy like Junior Caminero, who just came off a massive season, and he's getting no love. None. Zero. Zilch. It's crazy, dude. The dude just absolutely did what everybody expected him to do when he was a prospect, when his prices were through the roof. And it's all like they forgot about him. Well, guess what? Next spring, they're not going to have forgotten about Junior Caminero. People will be talking about MVP candidate Junior Caminero. James Wood had a little rough patch after the home run derby. I don't know if y'all saw the way he finished. He got hot again. Now, what are people going to be talking about next spring? James Wood. PCA had a little rough go there again, middle to end of the season. 162 games is the most these guys have ever played. They're wearing it down. Next, they're about to see PCA in the playoffs and how dynamic he is in center field and his running. Guys, there's guys next spring that are out there. This is what's fun about buying in the winter and fall to me. There's these buy low guys that shouldn't be buy lows. That's when you know you should buy.
Yeah, It's that whole adage of like Wall Street, right? Where they say bears make money, bulls make money, pigs get slaughtered. You know what I mean? Like it's this idea that it it can never crash. A guy can never go down, and this is one of the things that, people have kind of like given us a hard time of like, well, you never buy a card that you're always gonna, you're always gonna sell it. You never keep a card. But yeah, because, these kinds of cards that we're dealing in with these prospects are not the kind of cards that I personally want to hold. I'm in and I'm out, and I believe in the process. And then, like right now on our stack, on our shelf right now, we have a Connor Griffin blue that's entirely paid for off of our Connor Griffin profit. We have a Walker Jenkins blue and orange that's entirely paid for off of our Walker Jenkins profit. We have a Weather Holt blue entirely paid for, Montez blue entirely paid for, Samuel Basalo gold entirely paid for. Our entire prospect stash right now is net zero to us, and now we can hold them. It makes sense,
Yep. Yep.
That's the way we do it, and that's why it pays to buy the right guy and to buy the right card, and then to use your profits wisely. And that's where we stand.
Yeah. Right now, and even come springtime, I think so. Connor Griffin, it previously, I think, we used Jackson Holiday as the standard, right? I think so. I think we're in a situation right now in Bowman where Connor Griffin is going to become the standard, right? Like in my mind, whoever I'm buying, what's the ceiling on it? I'm thinking Connor Griffin. You know what I mean? Like if he's not going to be Connor Griffin and Connor Griffin's blues are here and goes, no, stay away. Like if Connor Griffin's not getting to that number right now, nobody is. So Connor Griffin is setting the new standard right now. And
You're
I
dead
feel
on,
like,
Kern.
yeah,
You're dead on.
And I feel like recently, and I say recently, meaning like in the last like few weeks or so, like I don't know whether I call it prospect fatigue or, like I have these guys and I have like they've paid off and I'm holding some now still and I feel good about it, that like it's almost like a point where I'm like, what's the point of buying these other guys right now? And I've been buying a lot more just like personal collection stuff. Like I bought a really cool, like, top sterling bat knob of Pete Alonso with like the polar bear knob for my PC, even though he might not be a Met next year. That thing is cool to me, like I've been buying a lot more PC pieces that like I can enjoy as opposed to thinking about value, because I feel like I succeeded on that front from the value this year, on prospects.
Well, I think you're dead on. It's funny you said that about Connor Griffin because we hadn't even talked about this, and it's exactly the way in my head I'm already thinking. When I see prospects coming out and they're like, "Oh yeah, his orange is going to be 7,000 raw, and he's XYZ," I'm going, "Why would I want that guy at 7,000 raw for his orange when I could buy Connor Griffin for that? Like, why would I do that? Like that?"
Exactly.
So I think it does set the market and set the tone. And I think that's what's been exciting to me about this year. There's been some really big sales with Reds this year that have kind of set the red market. I mean, the red market, if you hit on a red now, the red market's been there used to be very little public comps on Reds. There's been a ton of red sales this year that have been a lot of really big public comps. I love where the orange market is still. I love where the red market is. I love the supermarket. The gold market, I'm almost 0% in gold at this point. That's just my pro tip of the day. Like I still feel like the golds are very like sometimes they pay off bigger than the oranges, but the risk that you have in oranges and these are in golds in the market we're about to go in, to me, is much, much higher than the oranges, the reds, and the superfractors because there's 2 times the amount of people that have the golds that can say, you know what, I'm going to sell it in the middle of the winter.
It's a numbers game.
And that's a true point. When you start getting into these different numbered cards or whatever, like when you have the oranges and the reds, like you insulate yourself a little bit more from the market just completely tanking on you. And again, the savvy investors, the savvy guys are going after those. There's more of a demand on those kind of things. I'd like to play a little game here for you guys. Give me 3 guys that you would say this year in Bowman you crushed on.
PCA, James Wood, Leo DeVry.
Connor Griffin, Leo DeVry, Sebastian Walcott.
Ours would be Walker. I'd probably say Pena, and I'd probably say Basayo for us.
Well, your question, just to clarify, was that like Crushed on meaning cashed in on, or like you're set up for the success?
Yeah,
Because I would
two
add
ways.
Junior Caminero to my list on that one. Just
Yeah,
having
yeah.
cashed in.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting, man, because it's like, you have these guys that kind of come and go. And I mean, our first product release was Bowman Draft 2022.
Yeah.
And we were selling purple pitchers out of the gate for $150 and thought we were like kings and queens. I mean, it was like we've crushed it, And now as we've become more inclined, like when Walker came out, Matthew and I looked at like a Walker lot that we bought the other day, and like, I mean, it's just insane what we were able to do on Walker and now be net clean into Walker. It was just like really, really neat. But and we did really well with Holiday too. My point is that like you all have some of the same guys, but you also can have different guys and still do well. I think the point being is when you hold a guy and go, oh, someday he's going to be great, it's like you got to stay liquid. You got to stay fluid and smart and follow
you do. But at the same time, I'm going to be a devil's advocate to that because I'm playing the same game. But I also know when markets get irrational. Okay, so when I first got into this game, it was an irrational market. And Ham, that's kind of right about the time I met you. Right about the time I met you, if you'll remember, the card market was crazy. I mean, it was kind of starting to get going again, but like it was brutal in Bowman, man. I mean, it was to inch out gains was tough. And if you'll remember with me, I had bought all this Aaron Judge stuff. And at the time, and I had all this Bobby Witt stuff, right? And I thought I've said this before, but I knew they were phenomenal baseball players. I had conviction in the players, but I lost faith in the market that I didn't feel like I could control. Me selling those guys, I held Judge longer than I held Witt, but it cost me so much money. It cost me so much money. So I feel like sometimes if you really have that conviction on a guy and you go down with the ship, then you go down with the ship. Because you believe in that guy. Like Bobby Witt is my biggest regret. I had probably half of the population of Orange and I sold it for pennies because I had fear. I let fear overtake what I knew was a really good baseball player.
This was what makes me nervous about Connor Griffin, to be honest with you, because like I truly believe he is the real deal. And selling any one of his cards while we make a ton of money, it scares the living daylights out of me of like, did I just sell a Mike Trout red?
Yeah, what could have been. So what's a Witt orange doing right now? 50 grand?
10? Less probably. I think a red BGS 9 just did what, C8, I want to say? Something like that. 58.
So I sold, I had I don't remember the exact number, but I had like close to 10 orange 9.5/10s. Then I had a couple 9s and some other stuff. I sold a 10/10 for like $9,500.
Oh my God, man.
Well, again, but use Bobby Witt now as the marker for Connor. The same thing you said about if Connor is the gold standard,
yes,
then Bobby Witt should be the gold standard.
100% for 100%. 100%. Like how high could these Connor oranges really go? It's Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, Kern, for you and I, where we're at on Connor, like to Ham's point earlier, we've already made enough that we're net.
We're net zero. We're negative. We're net negative. Like we're
So we can play the game
zero.
and if there's a guy to sit there and play the game on, and we've talked about it before on the show, like he's the guy I'm going to do it. I mean, he's 100%. The guy if you're going to play this game with. There is no doubt. I haven't seen a prospect come through since Bobby Witt and Julio Rodriguez. There has not been another prospect that I like more than him.
Exactly. So, and go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so Big Matt, one of my guilty pleasures is I absolutely love the craps table. Like, I love it. I don't ever go to Vegas or any kind of casino place, right? But when I do, I just love the craps table. But I am a weirdo when I play craps that I will only play with house money. And I have a rule, man, and I start at the table with a certain number. And as soon as I get up over that number, I put my initial back in my pocket. I do not touch it. I will never touch it. And I only play with house money. And I do the exact same thing with cards. And I think sometimes it drives little Matt crazy because he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm only playing with house money and I'm okay playing with house money. And I can be more risk adverse or more risky with house money than I am with my initial investment. So like that type of strategy is what allows you to kind of like weed through the noise of the bubble so that you can look and you can go, all right, if I can get clean, then I'm playing with house money. Now I'm comfortable holding it or whatever. The problem is when so many people get into this hobby and they do it irrationally, they do it irresponsibly, they're getting into breaks or they're buying stuff they shouldn't buy, and now the cards are down. There's never any house money to play with, and so that's where they get torched and have to fire sale.
Well, there's a guy I've been talking about to this point, and it's a whole nother episode we should have at some point. The psychology of the baseball card market and why when a guy, we've talked about it this year, where you can make money on these guys the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth time. Because on the flip side of Connor Griffin right now, and that is really the hardest point, I believe Connor Griffin's going to be phenomenal. But I also think in Connor Griffin's projection at some point, when he gives to the pros, his prices will probably drop again, right? And you see that with Julio. I don't think people realize with Julio how good this kid is. He just put up another 7+ WAR season. His team is in the playoffs. He has had a tremendous second half of the season. The kid's still 24 years old. I mean, he is putting up crazy numbers, and you could buy his gold PSA 10 oranges. I bought his orange PSA 10 for $13,000 earlier this season. Okay? It's stupid. It's stupid for the talent that this guy is. And so, but he's not getting any love. He's not getting any love right now. I'm buying every $4.99. I might end up with all $4.99, boys, because I keep buying them. Because he's
Gary owns the whole
you look
pot.
at the you look at the 4.99s. One sold the other day. It was a PSA 6 bought the other day on auction, $495. I don't care if a damn dog shit it out. I'll buy it for $495. I mean, it's a Bowman first Julio auto, $499. I mean, my point is, like, there's a whole. It's just like with Junior. The question is, when will that momentum hit them again? Julio, it might happen this playoff season. Caminero, I would be willing to bet one of my testicles that he's going to get some serious love next spring.
I love this version of Bowman Farmer. He's back, baby. This is the Bubba we know and love. So speaking of, okay, and just to honor our time frame here in the episode, diving into the playoffs, one of the interesting thing about the baseball playoffs is there's opportunity within the baseball playoffs. Now it's a little different. It's a little bit more like a gambling thing, right? Like you got to go buy the guy, but there's going to be somebody. There's going to be somebody on one of these squads who's going to have a ridiculous playoff run. They're probably going to be a World Series MVP or something like that. And can you imagine what it would do to Julio Rodriguez's cards if it's him? You know what I mean? Or a guy is look at like your Trey Turner comes back off an injury and bats 400 in the playoffs. The Phillies win the World Series. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, whoever it is. So talking about the Major League Baseball playoffs, guys, I want you to just briefly talk about who you kind of rooting for, who have you got, and who would be your sleeper to come out of the MLB playoffs and be a guy where you're just waving his flag.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we play a game? Why don't we go team by team here, and each of us on rapid fire give a name from every team. If they had to pick one, who would it be from each team? Y'all want to do that?
Sure. I've got the list right here in front of me, so I'll pull up the teams, and then Bubba will start with you, then go to Kern, and then go to me. Okay, so we're going straight through the playoff bracket.
American this is like
League
sleeper.
Yeah, it's like your guy. Who's your guy on each squad?
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a sleeper. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So the wild card here in the American League, you got the Tigers and the Guardians. All right.
And
so
choose
Bubba,
the series winner too.
Yeah. So Bubba, Tigers, Guardians, each team sleeper, and who's going to
win? Man, I think Scooble's going to crush, man. I think his values have obviously gone up. I'm going Scooble with the Tigers. Kern?
I'm going to go Tigers as well. And I'm going to go Gleyber Torres.
I think a guy like Riley Green, because he had a lot of hype early, do something with the Tigers.
I like Riley Green.
Who on the Guardians excites you?
No.
No, me neither. I don't have one.
An arm, Gavin Williams.
I mean, the obvious choice for me, and I think the guy's just undervalued in general if we want to use it.
Jose.
People don't get to watch him. Is Jose. He's a stud, dude. Yeah. He's one of the top 10 best players in baseball. And it's cool that people are finally getting to see him. I'd go Jose.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So moving on, they've got the Mariners. Bubba, we know.
Yeah. Yeah, not Cal Raleigh, boys. Not going with the obvious choice, J-Rod.
I mean, I'll go Cal Raleigh. I think he's going to continue to carry them. Speaking of, make your pick, and then I want to do a quick rapid fire, and then we'll go back to the next game.
Yeah. I mean, I would go Julio as well. He just has that kind of thing where he could be that guy.
All right, real quick. There's two sides of this in the hobby. Okay, pick your side. Who's the AL MVP? Judge or Raleigh? Go.
Judge.
No explanation.
Judge.
Judge.
And
Judge.
anybody who thinks it's not Aaron Judge, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I don't think
Here's
there's no argument here. And I'm a Mets fan. There's zero argument.
The only thing I would say is to do what Cal Raleigh did
As
while
a catcher,
catching
I get it.
is
I do.
ridiculous.
Appreciate
so-
that. I do.
But again, Judge's statistics, they're just not even close.
Yeah. Okay. Next game.
Moving on, American League, the other wild card series. You got the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Aaron Judge, and for the Red Sox, Ceddanne Rafaela. Watch that. A hidden little gem there. I think he's going to bust it out. Ceddanne Rafaela. He's super cheap. I like it.
I'm going Ben Rice on the Yankees.
Don't you say what I think you're going to say on the Red Sox. I'll break my phone.
I was gonna go Rafaela, actually.
Really? Yes. Cool.
Yeah.
I would just really like to see Judge have a good, solid playoff run to kind of like solidify the legendary status. So I'm kind of pulling for him and the Yankees, although I grew up a Red Sox fan because of my boy Trout Nixon. And I don't know enough guys on the Red Sox to have somebody that I'm kind of pulling for. I don't really follow them enough currently to really know or speak educatedly about it. All right.
Hey, hold on
number
real
one
quick.
seed in the American League.
Just for all the haters, just so while we're live here, I want to be able to share this. I've got this up here. Just so because I love the haters that were hitting me up after the last episode. I haven't been checking on my boy Roman Anthony. I've been in the mountains of Chama, New Mexico. Haven't been able to keep up with my boy Roman. His big power that we all talk about. 257 ABs, 8 home runs, and 32 RBIs. That's all I got to say.
Well,
His
he's hurt
prices are
now.
going to go
He's been hurt.
down. Sorry, folks. Hope you sold him. Hope you enjoyed the ride.
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Treya Savage.
Who are they playing?
They got a bye.
Oh, they have a bye. Okay. The Toronto Blue Jays.
Do they beat the Yankees if the
Yeah. I'll go George Springer.
Springer? Yeah, I think Springer's just seeing the ball really well right now. I'll tell you though, man, Vlad has had a nice season.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had
So
a
is
nice
Bichette.
season.
So is
Yeah.
Bichette. Bichette's had a huge year.
Well, is Bichette might be back for the DS. We'll see.
Yep. So do you think the Blue Jays beat the Yankees if they get there?
Yes. I think Blue Jays are a team of destiny.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Mariners are that team. I really think the Mariners are just doing something with
All
baseball
right, so
right now.
let's choose that. Choose your side. I'm choosing Jays from the AL.
I'm going Mariners. I think the Mariners and the Yankees will be in the American League Championship Series. I think the Mariners got the series.
I'm going Yankees. Yankees taking it home this year.
Yanks all the way. All right, Natty League here. The Reds
The Mets
sneaking into the playoff.
Mets Dodgers. Mets
Cincinnati
Dodgers.
Reds. That's what.
The New York
That's
Mets.
what's on my
Okay.
here.
Okay. Got it. I'm going Juan Soto and
Juan Soto.
God.
Yeah, they're
dang
not.
it.
They're not.
I think Juan Soto's payroll is more than the Reds' whole payroll. Pretty
Yeah,
sure.
that's true.
He earned it.
So
this year.
Reds and Dodgers.
Bubba.
Reds, Dodgers.
Yeah.
Dodgers. I'm going Dodgers are going to win the series, and I'm going the player for the Dodgers is Clayton Kershaw. I think he's going to have his biggest, best playoff run ever to finish. And the player for the Reds, the guy I've been talking about, 2 different players. I'm going to say them both, Sal Stewart and Noelvi Marte.
Dodgers Reds. I think Dodgers win that series. I'll go Andy Pajes. I think the Reds. I think Gavin Lux is going to give his old team some fits.
Okay. Reds Dodgers. I think the Dodgers take the series, and on the Reds, if somebody's going to shine crazy, I think it's got to be Ellie. I think he's got to figure out how to hit home runs again to be sexy. On the Dodgers, though, dude, Freddie, man. I think Freddie might.
I like that.
Freddie might be the guy. Freddie might be the guy. All right, moving on to the bye. Number 2 in the Natty League, the Phillies. Do you have a sleeper for the Phillies, and will they beat the Dodgers in the division?
I think that, man, Man, I think the Phillies are going to beat them, and I hate the Phillies. I think Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, man, I'm going to go with both of them. I think Turner's extremely underrated, and I think Harper's just an absolute stud that people forget about, that he's Bryce Harper. It's kind of like Mike Trout, the way we saw our boy Mike finish the season there. He's still a stud. I mean, Bryce Harper is a stud, and I think he's going to show it, and so is Turner. So I'm going Phillies. And I'm choosing those two guys. Cheating and chose two.
Yeah, I think the Phillies take that series. Bryson Stott, so
I like
that's
it.
the guy.
I'm 1,000% going with my boy, Wolfpack alum, Trey Turner, one of 7 guys or 6 guys in the American League to bat over 300 this year. Has been hurt for the last month of the season, so he's going to be well rested and ready to roll in the playoffs. I always think about what Trey Turner did in the World Baseball Classic a couple years ago, and he's got that thing in him. And when that thing ignites, he's a tough cookie. So I'd really like to see the Phillies Dodgers series is going to be a really, really ridiculous series, personally. So, all right, moving on. We have the San Diego Padres and the Chicago Cubs. Bubba?
Cubs over the Padres. Going my boy PCA. Like I said earlier, I think he's going to show out and show people exactly how good he is defensively on national TV. But I'm going to go with the Cubs, and I'm going to go with the Padres, a guy that had a huge start and kind of faded off, but I still think this guy is one of the best players in the game, Fernando Tatis.
Jeez.
Really going out on a limb there. Man,
Look what he did last year in the playoffs.
I think this is going to be a really, really good series. I think the Padres take him down. I think Michael Busch on the Cubs, and I think Jake Cronenworth on the Padres.
Jake Cronenworth. Now you're saying, so just so we're clear on this, we're talking about in a baseball card environment here. You're buying Jake Cronenworth cards?
No, I'm not talking about cards at all. I was just talking about playing.
I thought these were sleepers for cards.
Yeah, I probably been playing the game incorrectly the entire time, but I was more just going baseball related, just to clarify that.
I just bought 15 Jake Cronenworths when you said that.
I love it.
Yeah,
$2 a piece.
Oops, I played the game wrong.
I don't
We are
have
a card
anybody on the,
podcast.
I don't have anybody on the Padres that really gets me excited. I'd like to see Manny Machado have a nice end cap on a great career, but Michael Busch is a guy that I'm pulling for, and certainly pulling for the Cubs. Something is good with the world when the Cubs are winning in the playoffs, and so I'd like to see the Cubbies and Michael Busch be a little bit of a hero there after a great season. All right. Moving on to the final spot in the National League, we have the number 1 seed overall, the Brewers, the Brew Crew.
Thank you, Greg Gumbel.
So the question is, how are they going to perform in the playoffs? I'm going to say the Phillies are going to win the NL. So I think they're going to end up down the line beating the Brewers. And I think Jackson Chourio is going to ball out. And I'm actually going to take the Blue Jays to beat the Phillies in the World Series. And I'm going to go with Chourio as my player for the Brewers on his card value.
Well, I guess my answer changes on card stuff because that would be Jackson Chourio. Otherwise, I was going to go from an impact standpoint and sleeper impact guy. And I'm sure his cards would see some movement, but Bryce Terang.
And you
sleeper.
You like the Brewers over the Cubs?
I do like the Brewers over the Cubs, yes.
Yeah. Same, and again, just because we were into him early on, I'd like to see Chourio be the guy.
Or over the Padres, I should say, because I picked the Padres.
Yeah, there you go. So, I think you're going to see, I'd like to see a Phillies Brewers, and I would be going Phillies. I'd like to see dude, straight up, Phillies Yankees World Series would be
vomit.
Yeah, for sure.
But it would be ridiculous for the energy around the sport. But I think Mariners. I think Mariners and Phillies.
And who do you have winning it all?
Phillies. They got to win. Man. They've got to win. They've got too much payroll there with Harper and Turner. And Turner's won before. Harper's won before. It's time. It's now or never. They're getting old, and they're 32, and I'm 43. So that just let's be.
It's gonna be fun,
all right, boys. That was fun. That was fun. So Major League Baseball's playoffs. So to our listeners, you'll have to check us on this and see if we held our own. And boys, that was a heck of an episode.
Kurt, who did you choose to win the World Series?
Yankees over Phillies.
Woo! Bringing it home to the Big Apple. Well, gentlemen, that was a fun episode. That was good. That was just the boys back to being the boys, talking about the things we know and love. and certainly hope our listeners appreciated it. Any final thoughts as we wrap up this episode?
Stay away from Bowman Chrome.
It's the moral of the story. No, I'm excited about playoff baseball. I'm excited about that cooler weather baseball, and I'm excited to see some of these guys on national TV that we don't get to see. So, and I'm excited to see some of these guys show out. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about, I hope I'm right that prices do go down 10 to 15% because I'll be gobbling them up if they do.
Well, boys, we're going to be kind of transitioning here on the Sports Card CEO podcast. Kind of season 1, season 2, like any good, long-standing content creation, whether it's Seinfeld or whether it's The Office or whatever. Like, we're trying to do something here and create something. We've, using the baseball playoffs as kind of a wind down on the season 1. We've got some really cool things around the corner. I'm excited to be a part of this with you guys and certainly our listeners, man. We're going to continue to bring great content to you guys. We're going to continue to bring, hopefully a lot of information and also just a fun environment.
And the only difference between like a Seinfeld and The Office would be that we're not going to take we're not going to take a break between. So we're still going to keep bringing the content right away, just into a new season.
Yeah, 100%. Well, listen, guys, thanks so much for listening to the Sports Card CEO. From Bubba, Kern, and Ham, we are signing off, and we'll see you guys next week.
Sayonara.
See ya.